What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. Micah Parsons situation per reports, okay? This is not Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter was saying this, a couple days ago that they're further away, and it's like, thank you, Captain Obvious. Now, Diane Rossini says that Micah Parsons, now I don't know what her sources are, is close to going to drastic measures here, okay? Drastic measures being that he may demand a trade. Here's where people will tell you Mark Holmes is an idiot. He has no clue that he's a liar. He's just full of shit. And what I said beginning of the offseason when Micah Parsons was saying, I don't have to be the highest paid. I don't have to be the highest paid. That I want to get this deal done. I want to keep my teammates together. I want to be about winning a Super Bowl here. I know that if I do that here, it will be immortality. I want to be the greatest of all times. And see, the Cowboys took what he said for granted and took it as a sign of weakness. And I said, be careful. Do not take what Micah Parsons putting out the olive branch as a sign of weakness that you can just shit on him, because that's exactly what the Cowboys have done. They have literally shit on him and treated him like he has done absolutely positively nothing. To turn around and pay Jake Ferguson, and I'm going to say that was a wise move. They should have done that with Micah last year. But for Stephen Jones to say something that we know was inflammatory yesterday, he said, with the Jake Ferguson, Jake Ferguson, he's just the kind of guy that you really love with the Dallas Cowboys, and, he does everything the right way, and we want to reward him for doing that. So you say that. At the same time, you say that Micah's got to want to get paid. Now, I think what that really means is that Micah Parsons has got to accept the deal that we want to put out there, not what he deserves, not what the going rate is. And see, the problem with this is the Joneses put themselves in these situations, okay, by effing around. You could have made Micah Parsons the highest paid player in the NFL 6 months ago at $35 million. You could have. Don't know why, but a phone call came across and it was like, no, I didn't call you. Okay, so I don't know what the heck that was. But Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones not wanting to deal with the agent, okay? This whole thing of Jerry Jones blatantly say that, I don't know who the agent is, we want to deal with the player, is against the rules. If a player has an agent and is not acting as agent for himself, you must negotiate with the player's agent. Micah Parsons said, hey, it sounds pretty good, the stuff that you're talking about. Talk to my agent. And you have literally, basically the same thing he said about Zeke Elliott. Zeke who? David Magenta who? I don't know who that is. Well, you're going to learn. You're going to learn. And see, now you're annihilating the player. I pointed out this morning in my morning video what Des Bryant was basically saying. That basically, let me summarize it. When you do this, when you trash the player and basically say all of the stuff that you've done, because Jerry Jones, let's be clear here. Well, he missed 6 games last year. It was 4, jackass, and still was a Pro Bowler, still was one of the top sackers in the NFL. And for you guys to go through and say, well, Jake Ferguson is the guy, the Cowboys want to look at. Hey, jackass, he had a concussion first week of the season and then had a leg injury and had a down year. So to say, yes, Jake Ferguson, and don't get it twisted. I love Jake Ferguson and I'm glad what they did. But you've got two different scales here. Jake Ferguson, who's going into his fourth year, out of the 3 years, has had one great year. One. And you got to pay. Micah Parsons has had 4. You said you want him to be a leader. He's shown up. He's done everything. He has met you 90% of the way. And you are unwilling to meet him the other 10. And this, mind you, is instances where they have wasted money on contracts like Jalen Smith, Michael Gallup. You can look at, and going back through history, from Miles Austin and Jay Ratcliffe and, all these other ones, guys that have not performed anywhere close to the level that Micah Parsons has. And, I'm going to say the same thing that I've said about Dak Prescott. Sometimes I wish, for the players' sake, that they could go to an organization that actually appreciates what they do and does everything to help them be the best player on the field by getting them help. You got to stop this whole thing of, we're a media company. Are you going to be a media company, or are you going to be a football team? Because the two things aren't jiving right now. Just not. And if you want to be a media company, if you want to sell t-shirts, if you want people being them boys, I tell you what, how many shirts do you think you would sell if Cowboys NFC champions? How many jerseys do you think you'd sell? Or shirts? Or hats? Or jackets that say 6-time world champion? Do you think that your tours of the star, do you think that ESPN talking about Micah Parsons' contract in any way, shape, or form would be anywhere close to you winning a Super Bowl? It's not. Not even close. Yeah. You can F around if you want, but you're going to find out, because, see, Micah Parsons, like Jerry Jones admitted, is not your typical NFL player. He understands the ins and outs of social media, negotiations, and everything else. See, in the past, you've made the players look greedy. With D-Law. We thought we had a contract. We thought we had this together, with D-Law, that it was going to be about $18 million a year. And now he wants 21. He's just kind of greedy. And, when you're a member of the Dallas Cowboys, there's other ways that you can make money. Yeah. That's the kind of shit that we're dealing with. But here's the thing. It's not like the Cowboys aren't making more money than everybody else, okay? Stephen Jones, you're making money off the backs of those guys. So, yeah, it's getting ugly. And over half of training camp is now over. And we have wasted time. We pissed off a player. And now we're going to have to, Philly 500 is texting me now. And now we're going to have to worry about soft tissue injuries to start the season, if and when they get them done. I hate it here sometimes. I really do. I really and truly hate the shit that we do as Cowboys. At the dump, get rid of some of this shit. I wish I could dump Jerry and Stephen Jones.